Right, so as you can see, we are luckily enough back on with the V8 now. As you can see, obviously Dave's got his head in the car. This video has been a long time coming, not because we haven't been able to get a film, but simply because this car, as we initially intended in the previous clips, if you haven't obviously saw the previous two videos that we've done the V8, we were aware that the car, it wasn't rough, but it just didn't have the love and attention that the level that we would have went to, and we noticed a few things that we weren't going to be happy with. So we sent it down to Garage 85, which is Craig, and the agreement was, with Craig being a friend of ours, he would basically prepare the car, we would just pay him for his work. But the way that he would work it was he would just kind of drop onto it in between jobs. There was no big rush with it, and it would basically keep our bill down. Now, in terms of what the car's had, it's extensive, to be fair. I basically wanted this car going through top to bottom. I didn't want any stone left unturned. At the end of the day, at some points, this car's probably going to be doing 160, 170 mile an hour now around the Nürburgring. Obviously, I've got kids at home, and I just wanted to make sure that the car was going to be safe. And to be fair, I'm pleased that we've got Craig to dig right into it. In terms of what we've changed, I've tried to keep this as interesting as possible. Obviously, it's had rod bearings done, which we knew, and we've gone with the uprated ERPs, which are now fitted in there. They're installed and obviously working fine. We then changed the spark plugs because they were old, they needed attention. Changed the plugs, changed both the tensions on the front of the engine because they were worn and making a funny squeaking noise when the car started, which we didn't like. We've changed both of the drive belts at the front of the engine. We've serviced the DCT gearbox with a genuine service kit. We've then relearned the gearbox and reset the adaptions just to make sure those changes are crisp and smooth. Again, as you know, when we got the car, we weren't happy with the gearbox, but what I can confirm is by doing the service and by resetting the adaptions, this is working perfectly well now, and we seem to overcome that problem, which is, to be fair for me, it was a big thing. I was really worried about it, but yep, we've sorted that. We noticed the rear diff was leaking, which I've showed you in the previous video, so we took the diff out, put a new diff seal in there as well, so it's had a brand new diff seal. Obviously, we've changed the diff fluid as well while we were in there, which you would do. Rear wheel bearing, passenger side rear wheel bearing was lacking. That had a big hum, and when we had a look at it, the split pin had basically come through the carrier and split the actual carrier. So we had to replace the carrier. We put a new wheel bearing on this side, and then I thought, we may as well check the other side. So decided just to strip the other side down just for good measure, put a new bearing on the other side as well. So we've had two new wheel bearings. We've got a new drive shaft in there as well at the driver's side rear. There's probably other things that I've missed. There was a multitude of parts that we changed. There were some pipes to the radiator. But basically now, I am more than confident that mechanically it's where it needs to be. And we just basically get the car back for the first time today, and we're fitting the Recaro seats up. And there's been a lot of swear words already. Dave prefers to use the Recaro side mounts, but I basically bought a kit from SW Motorsport. It's not a bad kit. It's a good, safe kit. But in terms of adjustment, what I will say is it hasn't necessarily given us the adjustment that we would have liked. For example, the side mount might have, just firing up from the cuff here, might have 5 holes down the side mount, which obviously allows you to adjust the height of the seat. But the way that the side mount actually works, which I'm going to show you in a minute, it only allows us to pick one bolt hole. So luckily enough for us, that one bolt hole, in terms of where the seat's going to sit, does actually work. But again, we would have liked more adjustment. So we'll just talk you through obviously fitting the seats today. We've got the old ones out, show you the side mount setup, what we're using and how we're going to mount them. So here's the kit from SW Motorsport that we've got. Obviously we've got the base plate. This bolt flat into the car, which then allows us to basically bolt that in so we're nice and safe in the original seat mounts. As you can see, the 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. And then what we can do is there's a load of adjustment on these to basically bolt the side mounts through the floor plate, and it basically just keeps everything safe. This is the correct fitment for E90 and E92 only, so we've got that. What we've also done is as well, you'll probably notice this, on the driver's side, we've basically gone for an adjustable, like a slider. So in case any of the lads want to drive the car at the Nürburgring, or if anybody else wants to use it, the driver's seat will slide backwards and forwards so it can accommodate different drivers. Whereas with the passenger seat, that one is just going to be fixed, so that won't be able to move. So we'll set it up like in terms of height-wise to suit like 5'7" to 6 foot, so people's got plenty of leg room. Obviously, there's our side mounts as well. Obviously, this is what we're seeing with the side mounts, which I'm going to show you on the seat in just a second. So there's the side mounts from SW Motorsport in with the kit. So as you can see with this seat, obviously we've got our Recaro ready to mount the side mount up, and there's our standard seat which we took out a little bit earlier. So as you can see, I'll just flip this up, show a lovely Recaro pole position, and I'll show you what I mean. So as you can see on the side of the seat, the way the actual side mount mounts to the seat itself and bolts, we don't have any options there. So that literally one bolt hole at the back is the only one that we can use, and the reason we can only use one is because if we try and go any lower, it basically just bottoms the seat out on the actual side mount. So that's the problem that we've got, is lack of adjustment. It's not going to create too much of a problem, but in an ideal world, a lot more of adjustment would have been more suitable. You're just laughing going through different options. I should really probably video some of the conversations that me and Dave have, to be fair, because they're quite funny. Just kind of going backwards and forwards and working out what's going to work and what's not. But there's the base plate basically on the seat. So as you can see, it's quite a nice bit of kit, to be fair. Most importantly, it is made quite well and obviously very safe, which is the reason that we're putting them in. But the problem that we've got is literally, as I said before, it's adjustment and making sure that we can kind of fit them well so that we've got plenty of room. What I'll do is, if we have any problems while we're on with this, I'll just video you and basically show you the issues that we're currently having. So we've basically got the Recaro seats in now, which I'm going to show you them shortly. So they're both fitted in, both at a nice height. The SW Motorsport bases, as said in one of the previous clips, could have been a little bit better, to be completely honest. But we found that, obviously, Dave worked a little bit of magic and got them to work well and got the seat height perfect. So moving on from that and the little bits of other jobs that we need to do. Now, I'm going to show you as well. I said I'll be honest with the build of this car and the little problems that we found, which I am going to be. So we obviously got the car back. Drove it back about 40, 50 mile back up towards home. It was perfect, no problem at all. Got it back, went to start the next day to drive it home. Got on the motorway near my home and the car started misfiring, took the management light. So we've had a bit of a look around, a bit of a fiddle. We've changed plugs, coil backs, etc. And the misfire is actually still there. So at the minute, it's running like a bag of shit, to be fair, which I'm going to show you very shortly. But we've ruled it down to downpipe gaskets or possibly a lambda sensor as well. So we are going to change those and hopefully get the car back running right. But obviously today's job as well, as part of this video, was moving on to the discs. As you can see, I'll bring these a little bit closer. That's the old discs. So the state of those, they're absolutely shot. Now, what I decided to do was, obviously, as you know, we upgraded the brakes at the front to the AP Pro 5000s. Now, when I had the last V8, it was a Dakar, and I liked the balance of the brake, and it had StopTech ST60s on, which were quite a large caliper. But I felt like with the last set of APs I had on V8, although the brakes were excellent, they were kind of top heavy. The brakes were that good, it would kind of bring the car to a stop, but not in the nosedive, but it would slightly dip harder at the front end. So I wanted to kind of level the braking out, and I found the M4 rear conversion would allow us to do that. So these Brembo calipers are off Dave's old M2 competition because he went with APs all round. So I'm going to fit these, well, Dave's going to fit these to the V8 and obviously get them up and running. Obviously, same with any calipers. Should only ever really buy genuine discs because the cheaper ones are exactly that. The quality's never quite the same. So we got some genuine discs from BMW for obviously an M2, and we're going to fit the rear conversion up and hopefully get everything working today and then get the car running tomorrow. So as you can see, obviously, I like things obviously to work well, but I like things aesthetically as well. It's nice to have obviously a track car, but in the same breath, it's nice for it to look pretty as well. So as you can see, the calipers look really well behind there, and obviously the genuine discs paint a pretty picture as well. So what we'll be doing with these calipers, obviously, which will go at the front. So as you can see at the front, these are finished in, it's more of an anodized rather than painted. It's like a flat grey with white writing. So what we'll actually be doing is sending those calipers, well, sending the car up to a friend of mine, getting to paint match this with the paint chips or get close to it, and then repainting the rear calipers in the same colour, and then we'll put the white M decals on just to get everything to match. We'll move on to the inside, and obviously I'll show you the seats, both of them fitted up now. Again, obviously, Recaros are always aesthetically pleasing. To me, probably my favourite all-time classic seat. I know they are expensive, but I just think they give the right look, and more important, obviously, they're very, very safe. They do the job should we ever need them to. But we are moving on nicely with this at the moment. What I'll do is I'll get this all in one clean sweep. I'll get Dave to start the car, and we'll give you a listen to how she's sounding at the moment. This isn't great, so keys are on the roof. As said to you, we do have a misfire. It's quite a naughty misfire at the minute, which we are going to get to the bottom of over the next few days. As you can see, obviously it's not great, but we will get to that. We will get to sorting it. But that's the end. Obviously, I think we're on to part 3 now, and we definitely are motoring along with this build, and she will be absolutely flying come April at the track day, Nürburgring. Thanks for staying tuned. We'll move on to the next one, where hopefully we've got a V8 and not a V4. So stay tuned.